Yo guys, welcome back to another banger of a video, and today we're doing a full review of WrestleMania 41. If you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure to let me know in the comments. Enjoy the video. Jey Uso vs. Gunther was a match that people have, mixed feelings about. On one hand, some people think it was a boring match. They say things like, oh, it was so repetitive, and oh, it was so predictable. On the other hand, some people say that the match was great. They say that Jey sleeping Gunther was a crazy decision and super surprising. I tend to land right in the middle of both of these opinions. See, I think that the match was really good. I firmly believe that both men gave it their all. But I mean, if we are being honest, it was quite repetitive. Gunther delivered almost 15 chops to Jey Uso. It would be a different story if they were spread out along the match, but I feel like they were very close together. They started losing the audience after the 5th chop. The crowd was getting more into it towards the end, but most of the time the crowd was dead. This made the overall viewing experience kind of mediocre, and but I was very surprised that they actually had Gunther tap to Jey. That's truly insane. Overall, the match was very good, but it was quite repetitive and predictable. But I can't say that I'm not excited to see what Jey Uso does with the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that he's going to have a really great reign with it. The New Day versus the War Raiders for the World Tag Team Championships was okay. I'm being fully honest when I say that there were several ways that this match could have been better. Now, before I start complaining, I'm not saying that this match was bad. It was a good match, but there are definitely some flaws. Flaw number 1, I feel as if this match, like the previous match, was kind of repetitive. There were certainly some sick spots in the match, but overall, it was a lot of waiting for something big to happen. Flaw number 2, where was Big E? I think WWE made a big mistake not making Big E interfere in some way. Now, I know that he still isn't cleared from the neck injury in 2022, but he still could have interfered, either for the New Day or turning against them and having a heel Big E. That would have been crazy. Flaw number 3, I think the Viking Raiders should have retained. No, just hear me out. The New Day have had the titles multiple times, and I think that the Viking Raiders should have a longer title reign. And also, I just don't really like the New Day. I think I speak for everyone when I say that it's just not the same without Big E. In conclusion, I think the match is okay, and Triple H certainly missed some awesome opportunities here. Okay, so this match was interesting. So, the night before WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio got injured. He hurt his leg and wasn't able to compete in his match the following night. So they chose a replacement for him, Rey Fenix. Now, before I start yapping about this match, I just want to say how amazing Rey Fenix is. I'm sure he's making Rey Mysterio very proud. Anyways, I'm not sure how this match was planned or if it was just made up on the fly, because obviously Fenix was not supposed to be out there that night. If it was made up last second, that is amazing improvisation, up to the point that this was the best match on the card so far. I am kind of disappointed that he didn't unmask El Grande, which is so obviously Chad Gable. I don't have many comments or concerns regarding this match, except for that it was a pretty good match given the stipulation that the match was created under. Overall, the match was great, but they definitely should have unmasked El Grande. Now, Jade Cargill vs. Naomi was a slightly above mediocre match in my eyes. I don't know if that's a hot take, but that's just my opinion. See, I was really hoping that Bianca Belair would interfere and have a Paul Heyman moment where she has to choose between friends, but alas. I honestly thought that Naomi was gonna win. Here's why. I think that the women's division needed a good heel like Naomi to spice up the rivalries further. I truly thought that Naomi was gonna win because I thought that they were gonna push her, but they didn't. I'm not sure what's gonna happen to Bianca, but I'm certainly excited for it. Overall, the match was okay, but also entertaining because I was having a battle in my head over who was gonna win. Okay, now it's time to talk about this match. This match was incredibly sloppy. Botched moves, not connecting with moves, and overall a boring viewer experience. Now, I hate to be that person that hates on matches, but I mean, this match was just not that good. Also, what happened to Tiffy's teeth? Towards the end of the match, it looked like Charlotte chipped multiple of Tiffy's teeth. Although, I was actually surprised with the outcome of this match. I fully thought that Charlotte was going to win the title once again, but Tiffy retained, which I can't say I'm not pleased with the outcome. It was just a very sloppy match, top to bottom, and it was very rough around the edges. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu was a pretty entertaining watch, even though I knew who was going to win. Also, LA Knight's entrance was so cool. The slow window roll was amazing. I had a blast watching this match, and that BFT catch off the top rope was phenomenal. I think having Jacob Fatu win the title was the right move, even though he hasn't been in WWE for that long. WWE did a great job writing this match, but it was overall okay, but also it was really good. Oh my god. Match of the night. This match was flawless in my eyes. I watched this with my brother, and we were both screaming by the end of it. First off, let's talk about Paul Heyman. What an unexpected ending. I nearly lost my mind when he turned on Punk. Then, once he turned on Roman, I was screaming at the top of my lungs in disbelief. This match was beyond amazing, and it saved the night of mediocre matches. This will forever go down as one of my favorite matches I have ever watched. Also, did CM Punk's teeth get messed up at the end? I saw some blood in his mouth, but whatever. I am so excited to see what Paul Heyman does with Seth Rollins. This was amazing and could be the best match at WrestleMania. Wow, this night really kicked off strong with a Women's World Championship match. These women really gave it their all. I had such a fun time watching this match, and I totally think that having Io Sky retain was the right move. She is such a good champion, and she is totally over with the WWE Universe. This match was packed with action. I felt like if I looked away for a second, I would miss some spectacular jump from the top rope. I loved seeing this other side of Bianca. She just came from being torn between friendships, and now I think she's unleashing all of those negative emotions on her opponents. Overall, fantastic match, and I have no criticisms. This match was brutal. Watching this had me on the edge of my seat. There were so many incredible spots in this match, I was standing up from my couch the whole time. I'm very glad that Drew McIntyre got the win. He truly deserves it. Now don't get me wrong, Damian Priest did a great job in this match, but Drew really tied it all together and made this match one of the best I've watched in a while. Also, that spot with the two tables was amazing. In addition, I also loved the DDT onto the steel steps, which was, a callback to SmackDown when Drew did the same thing. In conclusion, I think this match was, phenomenal. I have no comments. This Fatal 4-Way was action-packed. First off, I want to say I love watching Braun Breaker wrestle. His spears just run through people with power and precision. But unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to be shown on TV that often anymore because he's not the champ anymore. And he's just not over with the crowd, Anyways, I think that Dominic Mysterio, having won this match, was the right move. Although he is a jerk, he is genuinely talented at wrestling, and it's time for Rey Mysterio to pass the torch to someone else. I wonder what's going to happen with the Judgment Day now, considering that Dom and Finn probably don't like each other right now. Overall, great match that was written pretty well. Before Randy Orton's opponent came out, I fully thought that it was going to be Rusev. But then... I jumped out of my seat. Joe Hendry, I believe! I knew this was coming. Now, AJ Styles vs. Logan Paul was one of those matches where I didn't really care whether it happened or not. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought the match was great. I just don't have any comments on it because there's not really anywhere that they could go with this. It was like they had an extra spot open for a match and they just said, screw it, let's just have these two fight. I thought it was a good idea to have Logan Paul win the match. He's a young talent and people need to accept that he's actually good at wrestling. All things considered, I don't have any comments on the match because there just isn't that much to say. The man, Becky Lynch, is back. Man, I remember watching Becky last year and loving her character. And to see her back made me so happy. I'm so glad that Liv Morgan doesn't have the titles anymore. It's time to give the champion to a younger generation, such as Lyra. Now, Lyra has 2 titles, with Becky 2 belts. I think that they're going to be unstoppable. I'm so excited to see where they go with this. I want to thank Cody Rhodes for having such an amazing title reign. He was amazing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was at WrestleMania last year, And I watched him win. It was a magical moment. You know, he finally completed the story. And hold on, here's a clip of that. Come on! For Dusty! Yes! 1, 2, yes! It was amazing. And from then to now, I've watched almost every PLE rooting for Cody because he is my favorite wrestler. And then from out of the darkness, there comes John Cena, a 16-time world champion, which I loved as a kid. Now he's turning into the villain and ruining wrestling for everyone. And on April 20th, 2025, he did just that. John Cena didn't even win with a finisher or anything, but with a freaking weapon, which would have just gotten him disqualified if it wasn't for Travis Scott pulling the ref out of the ring. Now, I knew John was going to win. It was devastating. Now, if I'm actually reviewing the match, I would say it wasn't the best. I thought that there were going to be a lot more interferences and run-ins than there actually were. But it still had me on the edge of my seat, of course. But I think, in a way, it perfectly encapsulates the feelings of John Cena. Serious, ruthless, just plain violence, unleashing hands on our champion while we can't do anything about it. No interferences in our favor, just despair. And then the credits rolled as John Cena walked out of WrestleMania, the champion, a new record holder, and someone that will go down in history as the man who ruined wrestling.